I was framed by my own family, so I turned the investigation back on them. The day my family accused me of stealing $40,000. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I took notes. I walked into that living room expecting Sunday lunch, not an ambush. Cold stares. Whispers. Then my uncle said it, "We think it was you." No proof. Just years of quiet resentment finally spilling over. But here's the twist, they picked the wrong girl. Because before I ever joined the family business, I worked in corporate compliance. I knew how to trace digital footprints. And they had no idea I still had access to everything. Speech balloon, have you ever been wrongfully accused? Let's talk about that silence, and what you did with it. Part 1, the setup. They said the money vanished. I said, let's check the receipts. Let me take you back to where it started. Not with a bang. Not with yelling. Not even with suspicion. It started with trust. And that's the dangerous part, isn't it? Because betrayal doesn't always come wearing a villain's face. Sometimes, it comes wrapped in family smiles and Sunday dinners. It comes disguised as, "We need you, and you're the only one we trust with this." I was 29 when I joined the family business. It wasn't a dream job. It was a favor. My Uncle Terry had called, saying they needed help, just a few hours a week to keep invoices in order, review vendor payments, maybe assist with payroll when things got hectic. Nothing fancy, he said. Just family helping family. I should have known. Our company was small, modest contracts, a couple of state partnerships, some residential work. Not glamorous. But steady. Uncle Terry ran the books. Aunt Carol handled logistics. And me? I was the tech-savvy niece who could make sense of numbers no one else wanted to deal with. I didn't ask for much. Just a desk, a login, and the assumption that I belonged. They said they needed me. And I believed them. Until the day the check disappeared. $40,000. Our biggest payment that quarter. It had cleared. Been confirmed. But when I went to log it into our system, it was gone. At first, I thought it was a simple error. A misfile. A misplaced deposit. That happens, right? But then came the silence. Tight-lipped mornings. Avoided glances. Whispered meetings behind the glass conference door. And then my uncle said it. Softly. Like he didn't want to hurt my feelings. Like this was a gentle intervention. You know, Julie, these things happen. Especially when people are under pressure. Maybe struggling a little. He smiled. That smile that isn't a smile at all. The one people use when they've already decided who's to blame. He didn't accuse me directly. But he didn't have to. Because the seed was planted. And everyone watered it with their silence. I sat in that office, surrounded by blood relatives, and I had never felt more alone. No one stood up for me. No one said, she wouldn't. They just let it happen. And I realized. This wasn't about a missing check. It was about me. I was the one who didn't fit the mold. Didn't marry young. Didn't have kids. Didn't show up to every barbecue with potato salad and a Pinterest-perfect life. I worked in cybersecurity. I solved data breaches. I lived in a studio apartment with 3 monitors and no headboard. To them, I was different. And different was suspicious. So, no. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I watched. I listened. Every casual comment. Every forced smile. Every, don't take it personally, that cut like a knife. Speech balloon, have you ever been blamed, not because of evidence, but because of silence. Let's talk about that kind of betrayal. Drop a comment below. I'm reading everyone. That night, I went home and opened my old work laptop, the one I hadn't touched since leaving my corporate fraud auditing job. And I started digging. Not for revenge. For clarity. I pulled email logs. Reviewed access history. Matched timestamps. Checked IP addresses. And then I found it. A receipt. Created under my name. Saved as a draft. But not by me. They thought I'd roll over. That I'd take the fall quietly. But they forgot one thing. I know how digital trails work. And I never leave mine untracked. Bell, if this story hit home, like, comment, and subscribe to NA Family Story for more real stories where silence becomes strength, and family isn't always who you think. This is just the beginning. Because clearing your name is powerful. But reclaiming your voice, that's unstoppable. Part 2, the trail they left. They said I was sloppy. But guess who left the breadcrumbs? Let's be real, betrayal doesn't come with fireworks. It's quiet. Like a whisper behind closed doors, or a draft email never sent. But here's the thing about lies, they leave trails. And I know how to follow them. After that family meeting, after I was practically labeled the thief in the room, I went home and got to work. Not to clear my name out of desperation. But because I needed to know, how deep did this go? I opened our payment software. Checked transaction logs, invoice numbers, approval chains. At first, everything looked clean. Too clean. But then I spotted something weird. 2 invoices. Same client. Same week. One marked paid. One marked pending. But the services. Identical. And the payment destination. Not our usual account. I followed that lead like a detective follows footprints in fresh snow. The money had been funneled into a secondary account. Not under our business name, but one that looked almost like it. Just one letter off. A shell company. I felt my chest tighten. But I kept going. Digging deeper, I found the registration file. The name listed. A man named Kyle. My cousin Rachel's boyfriend. You know, the one who always bragged about hustling crypto and working smarter, not harder. The same guy who once borrowed my laptop to check emails at Thanksgiving. Now it made sense. And the final punch to the gut. Rachel had vouched for him when he got the temporary admin access to our financial system. My own sister. The one who used to braid my hair before school. The one who once said I was too sensitive when I didn't laugh at their jokes. She vouched for him. To our uncle. To the team. To me. Because she knew I wouldn't fight back. Because I'd always been the quiet one. The helper. The one who let things go. But not this time. This time, I didn't yell. I didn't storm into the office with printouts. I picked up the phone. And I called a lawyer. Speech balloon real talk, if someone in your family set you up, would you handle it privately, or let the truth speak publicly? Drop your answer in the comments. I want to know how you define strength when the people closest to you cross the line. Because here's the truth. I didn't want revenge. I wanted proof. And now, I had it. The paper trail was solid. The account transfers. The logins. The timestamps. And the kicker. The IP address matched one from my parents' guest room Wi-Fi. Where Kyle had stayed for 2 weeks last summer. The next morning, I didn't show up to the office. I showed up at the bank. And I wasn't alone. If this story hits close to home, share your thoughts or drop a broken heart in the comments. We're not just telling stories here, we're building strength. Stick around. This blueprint of betrayal. It's only halfway built. Like, comment, and subscribe to NA Family Story, where truth rises, even when trust falls. Yellow Circle Part 3, The Confrontation. They called a meeting to clear the air, but I came to burn the lies down, one receipt at a time. I walked into the room like I had something to prove. But really, I walked in knowing I didn't have to prove anything to anyone anymore. They'd called it a family check-in. A chance to move forward. My uncle sent the message like it was some casual reunion. My cousin offered to bring snacks. My sister, silent as ever, just said, "Hope you're well." As if they hadn't just spent weeks dragging my name through hushed conversations and guilt-laced assumptions. I sat down, calmly, and laid a thick folder in the center of the table. "I brought something," I said. They smiled, nervous smiles. The kind you wear when you know the truth is coming. I opened the folder. Inside were timelines, duplicate invoices, vendor records, email logs, even the security footage from our office printer. Every detail, every breadcrumb of betrayal, they thought would stay hidden in the shadows. I passed the papers around. No drama. No anger. Just evidence. And then I said it. I know who did it. But more importantly, I know who let it happen. That's when the temperature shifted. My uncle coughed. My cousin suddenly found the table interesting. My sister blinked slowly and looked away. You could hear the clock ticking. But no one said a word. Not even an apology. And you know what surprised me? I didn't need one. I didn't need tears or excuses or some last-minute confession to make the pain go away. What I needed was already in my hands. The facts. The truth. My power. Because when they accused me weeks ago, I didn't scream. I didn't fall apart. I took notes. I observed. I remembered who flinched, who stayed quiet, who twisted the knife with a smile. So when I stood there, holding the truth like armor, it wasn't to hurt them. It was to remind myself, I am not who they said I was. I'm not the quiet one anymore. I'm not the family's convenient scapegoat. I'm not the woman they can mistake for weak just because I choose peace. Speech balloon. Have you ever found peace without getting the closure you deserved? Maybe you never got the apology. Maybe they never even admitted the damage. But you still walked away stronger. Tell me how you did it. Drop your story in the comments, because someone out there needs to see your strength today. As the silence dragged on, I packed up the folder and stood. I won't be part of this company anymore, I said softly. But I will be pressing charges. You'd think there would be panic. There wasn't. Just guilt, sitting heavy in the air like smoke from a fire they set and thought they'd get away with. And as I walked out, I felt free. Not because they understood. But because I finally did. They thought they could bury the truth. But I planted it. And what grew next was mine. Part 4, The Comeback. They tried to erase me, but I rebuilt from the ashes, louder, smarter, and on my own terms. 6 months. That's how long it took me to go from the girl who stole $40,000 to the woman CEOs now hire when they suspect someone is stealing from them. 6 months of rebuilding. Not just my reputation, but my belief in myself. Because after you've been blamed, betrayed, and broken by the people who were supposed to protect you, there's only one way forward. You stop asking for the table, and start building your own. That's what I did. I launched my own consultancy, quietly, no press release, no flashy launch party. Just me. My laptop. And a drive I couldn't turn off if I tried. I called it Ledgerline Consulting. We specialized in one thing: investigating financial discrepancies in small, family-run businesses. The irony wasn't lost on me. But this wasn't about revenge. It was about using what nearly destroyed me to protect women like me, women who got handed the blame simply because they were easy targets. Women who didn't yell, but listened. Who didn't accuse, but observed. Who survived the fallout, and still chose to help others rise. I started small. Local business owners. Friends of friends. A few solo entrepreneurs who noticed things weren't adding up in their books. Then word spread. And the best part. A year after my departure, my former family business got audited. Turns out, I wasn't the only thing they tried to cover up. The audit revealed falsified vendor contracts, kickbacks, and unreported income streams. They called it a miscommunication. The state called it tax fraud. And me? My name was cleared. Officially. Publicly. With a footnote from the auditors that read: initial concerns raised by Ms. Your name were supported by findings. I cried when I read that line. Not because I needed validation, but because it reminded me, the truth may be delayed, but it never stays buried. Speech balloon, let me ask you this: have you ever taken your lowest moment and turned it into the foundation of your greatest strength? How did it change you? What did you build from your pain? Drop it in the comments below. Your story isn't just survival, it's inspiration. But here's the twist. After the audit, guess what started filling my inbox? Job inquiries. Not from strangers. From people I once called family. My cousin asked if I needed a junior analyst. My sister forwarded my website to a friend in HR. Even my uncle's assistant reached out for a quick discovery call. I didn't feel smug. I felt steady. Because when you stop needing recognition, success feels quieter, but stronger. I didn't respond with bitterness. I responded with my new client intake form. No special treatment. No shortcuts. They had to come through the same door everyone else did. Not because I wanted to humiliate them, but because I had finally learned the power of boundaries. This wasn't revenge. This wasn't spite. This was redemption. With a paper trail. And I wasn't just cleared. I was reclaimed. Stay with me, because in the final part, I'll tell you how choosing myself led to something even better than an apology. Peace. Bell, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to NA Family Story if this story resonates with you. Every voice here matters, including yours. They tried to bury me under silence, blame, and shame. But I dug myself out, not to prove them wrong, but to remind myself I was always right to trust my instincts. Today, I don't need apologies. I don't wait for approval. I walk in truth, on my own terms. Because healing isn't about fixing what broke, it's about building what you deserve. Speech balloon, have you ever chosen yourself, even when it was hardest? Share your story, someone out there needs your strength. Bell, like, comment, and subscribe to NA Family Story for more powerful stories of resilience, truth, and quiet triumphs.